Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katrina and this is Katrina Reads. This is supposed to be my mid-month check-in, let you know what I've been reading, but I have been in probably one of the worst slumps ever, so I don't have a lot of books to talk about, and so I wanted to talk about the few books that I have read. And I read a short story, something that is coming up that's really nice. It's going to be, I think, really fun for next month. And then just talk about what do you do when you fall into a slump. So the one book I did finish this month was, or so far, is Murder by Page One by Olivia Matthews. This was a e-arc that I got from NetGalley. It was an audiobook, so that was one of the reasons why I was able to finish it. And it was a cozy mystery that by the time I got to, I don't know, maybe 15% in, I realized these were people of color. And so that was really interesting. Cozy mysteries normally do not have people of color in them, and it also didn't scream it from the rooftops, and I thought that was really cool. It took place in this little town called Peach something, and there was the main character is a librarian. She's trying to help out her friend set up a exhibition for authors at her bookshop. And the bookshop has the cutest name. It's called To Be Read. There's chocolate that is sold there, like hot chocolate and stuff like that. So it's like a bookshop plus like a little snack bar place. And then one of the authors is headed back to the storeroom and is killed. And this lady who is a transplant to this little town, the main character is a transplant to this town. She's coming from New York. So it spends a lot of time with her trying to decipher Southernisms versus, Southernisms versus New Yorkisms. And I wonder, is that such a big thing? I mean, we can, with context clues and all of that, you can understand it. And I was like, I don't know. I think they were trying to be cute, but it wasn't that big a deal. Like, you can, especially because Black people are kind of Dixie in the, like, whenever you do, I don't know if they were, I don't think they're still popular now, but years ago, maybe 5-10 years ago, it was really popular online to do these quizzes where they would test what you say. Like, so they would say, would you say this or would you say this? So would you say pop soda or Coke? So they had a whole bunch of questions like that, and then they guess where you were from, and they were really accurate. And for myself, and what I found for a lot of Black people, because of the Great Migration, we sound Midwestern. I mean, we you can tell that we're Midwestern, but we have Dixie in us. Dixie meaning South, because our family members and relatives, and still going back, every summer to visit, and then we just carry that stuff. So we still say y'all, we still say I don't know, some of the things that I can't think of anything else right now, but y'all is something that's still said in Chicago, at least, because our relatives come from like, for me it was Arkansas. And so I don't know how much of the Great Migration, I know a lot of the Great Migration was people moving from the Southeast to the Midwest. And I don't know how many of those people ended up in New York. But at the same time, it's been a lot of time with her. Like, she literally walked around with, her name was Mabel, let me find her name. Her name was Marvy, and she walked around with a notebook writing down the different Southernisms. So anyway, I did like that it had all of the cozy mystery things that I do like. Small town, bookish locations. Spence was a minor character. He was billed as a third major character, but he was really minor character. if this is going to be, I think it said it was a first in a series when I read the description for it. And I think he's going to be in future. I think this is a first in a series. And so he might show up more. He's the town's rich. He was rich when he left, but he's come back because he loves the town. He owns the newspaper. He was minimally involved in the investigation. Marvy has this cat that takes up a lot of page time. And I'm used to cats and stuff like that taking up a lot of page time in cozy mysteries that are paranormal. But since this wasn't paranormal, it was a little odd that she spent so much time worried about her cat, and the cat just kind of ended up being sick because it was stressed out from the move. So I did enjoy, this one did what it was supposed to do. I gave it 3 stars. There was lots of, coffee and chocolate and gossiping and weird townspeople, the murder. And then it had it was a little dry. It was a little less atmospheric than what I'd like. So it still got the 3 because it was such a surprise that these were people of color. I don't think it was just Black people either. I think there was a Hispanic person, and I think there might have been an Indian person. And part of the reason why I'm a little confused is because it was context clues that made it so that I had to figure that out, and the way they talked and some cultural things. And I enjoyed that. So that was the one book I did. I did pull out some energy to review it, obviously, because it was for NetGalley. I got my NetGalley results up to 64%. Remember, we're trying to get to 80. And then I checked it again just now when I was looking for the name of the book, and it's back down to 61 because I did get accepted for another book. So as soon as you get it up, and I'm trying to get it to 80%, it brought it back down. It's okay. It's fine. I listened to maybe like 3 more, maybe a half an hour, like going to bed, of Needful Things, which doesn't really count. Vampires in the Grove is a anthology. Well, I don't know, is anthology when different people write in a book? But these are all short stories by one author, Karen Russell. It's called Vampires in the Lemon Grove. The title story is the first one. And these vampires, you kind of open up and you are introduced to this really old, kind of wizened guy standing there. You're not sure that he's the vampire yet. He's standing there. He's sitting in like this old Italian town. It's got some tourists in it, but it's not a tourist trap. And there's a couple people who are aware of him, but for the most part, he in his mind is thinking a lot about how he's become, invisible, and how great that is, because he's not a monster in that sense. He reminisces about meeting his wife. He reminisces about trying to go different places where they were trying to slake their thirst, and the misery of that, because he thought, oh, I'm a vampire, I need to be doing these certain things as a vampire. I need to sleep in dirt, I need to drink blood. And he was like, whenever I did those things, I tried to avoid the sun, but I would wake up with a headache, and I'd still be thirsty, and I'd still be miserable. And then he realized, the sun doesn't bother me, and he's not the typical vampire in this. Like, he was pale at first because he was avoiding the sun, but then once he realized, oh, none of these things really matter to me, they don't really bother me. He actually turned into this little, one of the descriptions of him was like that he was this little brown raisin of a man almost. And he and his wife found that they can slake their thirst a little bit by these special lemons that they find in this lemon grove that he sat in for a long time. For a long time it was like open land, but then it became private property, as things do. The further along we get, but I forgot why, but people, he was allowed just to kind of sit there. He was just part of the furniture, so he was able to sit there. One of the young pretty workers would offer him, sneak him the lemons were really valuable, and so they were accounted for a lot. But this worker would sneak him one. His wife got bored with their lifestyle and decided to turn into a bat and leave him. He, despaired of that. Out of that despair, he went on to kill the girl who was really nice to him, and he hadn't killed in like decades, because again, that didn't help him. And so he attacked her. His bloodlust attack, from like a bloodlust in a sense. But again, he wasn't satisfied, and I was just like, this is such a weird story. What is the purpose? And that's one of the things about short stories, is that you're kind of dropped into the story. What is it, in media res, where you're dropped into the story, no beginning, no ending, you don't know, and then you're pulled back out. And so it's like, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Is it about longing? Is it about the inability to be satisfied? Is it about this person's, I don't know, is it about the fact that we're always who we are? We're always going to be monsters, even if we go for a long time not doing the monstrous thing. People never change. I have no idea. So that was the one story I got through in here. I continue. I'm going to slowly kind of make my way through this, just because it's a out of my comfort zone book, and that was one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to always kind of be pushing myself. I'm just not going to be pushing myself as hard. Like, it's not going to be one out of my comfort zone book per month like I had initially decided at the very beginning of the year when I came up with my TBR rules. But yeah, Vampires in the Lemon Grove I read since the beginning of the month, and that's it. I have not been reading anything else. I found myself DNFing everything. I then just got to a place where I was just like, okay, this, I don't know what this is, because nothing was catching my attention. I was disappointed in some of the books. Like, I was super excited about the Space Between Worlds. Let me look that up. It was Space Between Worlds. The other cool thing, I'm going to put up the book, but I got the book, The Changeling. It's a novel by Victor Lavelle. I'm going to be buddy reading this with AJ Reads and Writes. And so, first of all, it's my first buddy read. I'm excited about this book also because I just raved about The Ballad of Black Tom, which it was a novella by Victor Lavelle. He's a Black horror writer, or like weird writer. I don't know if his books are all going to be considered horror. The comics that I've seen him do, they were all kind of body horror comics, and the other novella that I looked into was a horror novella. So I'm wondering if he wrote like a nonfiction book, he wrote a nonfiction like article thing about Lovecraft. So I think that's where his focus is. Let me read the back when it comes to this. When Apollo Kagwa's father disappeared, he left his son a box of books and strange reoccurring dreams. Now Apollo is a father himself, and as he and his wife Emma settle into their new lives as parents, exhaustion and anxiety start to take their toll. Apollo's old dreams return, and Emma begins acting odd. At first, Emma seems to be exhibiting signs of postpartum depression, but before Apollo can do anything to help, Emma commits a horrific act and vanishes. Thus began Apollo's quest to find a wife and child who are nothing like he imagined. His odyssey takes him to a forgotten island, a graveyard full of secrets, a forest where immigrant legends still live, and finally back to a place he thought he had lost forever. So I'm going to get the audiobook as well, so with this, so that I can probably mark this one up and tab this one up, but also be listening to it. So I'm excited about that. And hopefully that will get me out of my Slump. There's other books. There's some other things that I'm going to pick up and look at, or listen to at least. I'm going to listen to something at least to try to get me out of this. And then I have like some short nonfiction books that I need to start to get into. And I also need to start reading Sula. So I'm still getting Sula done, and Our Prison's Obsolete by Angela Davis. So those are some books that I want to get into, and you see they're pretty short. So but the Changeling is going to be a buddy read next month. So I'm just going to be, that's just something I'm looking forward to. If you made it to the end of this very rambly, sad sack of a update, give me a heart just to let me know. I wish we had those little care hug things like on Facebook, but give me a little heart, whatever color, doesn't matter. Let me know that you understand, and put, comment down below, what do you do to get out of a slump? Do you just write it out? Do you push yourself? Do you change genres? I tried that. I tried to change genres. I tried to change from audiobooks to physical books, to ebooks. Nothing worked. Let me know down in the comment box, and then let me know if there's any books that you think that could shake me out, that are so good. Knowing my likes, I'm really right now enjoying horror. I'm enjoying black horror, Lovecraftian horror kind of things, and shorter books. And I'm also looking into prison and police abolition on the nonfiction front. So if you have any recommendations in that remark, let me know. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Be easy on yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.